Okay, I'm here with Dr. Paul Fuller, who doesn't work here at Gloucester, but often is seen teaching at Bath Spa University, but is here for whatever reason today, and is an expert in Buddhism. And I wanted to ask him a question or two. In fact, we had a question that was tweeted to me about Buddhism and suffering, and I'm going to read it directly from rather than try and pretend it's not on my phone. And it says, "A pupil asked," says Miss Tomlinson. A pupil asked yesterday if Buddhists should not have children as the pain of childbirth is too much suffering. What do you make of?
That's a very interesting question. So it's a question about the notion of dukkha, isn't it? So what exactly is dukkha? And should dukkha be avoided? So there's a number of ways in...
So what is that kind of suffering? And
yeah.
If we know it's going to come our way if we get pregnant, not our way, but for women's way if they get pregnant, should they avoid pregnancy?
Yeah, so does Buddhism teach that we should avoid pain? So there's 3 types of dukkha explained in Buddhism. There's physical pain, which I think this question is kind of alluding to, physical pain.
Apparently there's some physical pain in childbirth.
Yeah, apparently there is. Like touching something hot or having a child come out of your body is, imagine, is very painful. So there's physical pain, there's the pain of impermanence, there's also the pain of the dukkha of conditions. And I wonder if we can kind of link these together in some ways to answer this question. So it's clearly physical pain.
It clearly hurts. So people seem to make quite a fuss.
But can we become delve into this? It's also the child being born is also going to be impermanent. So should we avoid having children for that reason? I've heard students ask before that shouldn't...
Because you become as a parent becomes very attached to them.
Yeah, of course.
But also in the knowledge that they will get old, they'll change,
and they'll die, and that's suffering as well. And we also need our children to condition our happiness. And so if they're impermanent, and something happens to our children, so there's lots of...
We expose ourselves to even more potential suffering.
Yeah. So
through that,
I think the question is alluding to: should we avoid the physical pain of childbirth? But then again, there's various ways we can approach this. What if the child being born is going to achieve nirvana, for example? A male or a female is going to achieve nirvana, and then they are going to teach the Dharma, the teachings, to humanity, and end people's suffering.
Or even, I guess, on a less ambitious note, your children are going to become great teachers of Buddhism, which is possible.
Yeah, okay.
Or on a more modest note, you could say that you might have a child who goes on to be a great doctor, ends suffering, goes on vaccination.
Yeah.
But they might be people who do good, who reduce the massive suffering against humanity. Yeah. And that seems quite a noble aspiration.
So the pain of childbirth, and sometimes on the Buddhist path, women don't have a great role to play. I'm not sure if we're going down too many avenues here, but as a type of sacrifice, a physical sacrifice, even a father, the pain sometimes of bringing up a young child and the joy at the same time. Yeah. Wouldn't this be a good thing? Let's follow this avenue. So if the child is going to be a great person, a great teacher, then that would be a compassionate act to have children.
So there's an idea that there is that pain, but even if you don't have children, you'll have pains because life is
full of suffering.
Soaked with kind of all kinds of unpleasantnesses.
Yeah, and the kind of relatively short period of giving birth to children.
Yeah, so it's not a kind of crude cost-benefit utilitarian.
No, it doesn't.
You pay for the pain, you get the good thing. It's more to do with life's kind of rich complexity.
Yeah. It's an interesting question because I've never heard it asked in that way.
Yeah, well, Buddhism seems, as you implied, slightly preoccupied with men.
Yeah.
And doesn't consider the things that are unique to women a lot of the time because of its nature.
And a woman is being a good mother for having her children. So the pain is almost put to one side. I've never heard it discussed in the canon. The pain of childbirth is not used as an example. So maybe that suggests a kind of male-dominated discourse.
Yeah, it's only men talking to men about men.
Yeah, so
women are kind of normally in the kitchen.
Yeah, so this interesting question about the notion of the pain of childbirth is kind of sidestepped in some ways. At the very best, it's just not alluded to.
Yeah, but think about it, it's interesting. It does bring up the idea that what is the point of being alive?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not optional. But what is the point of creating life and having life? If not to be involved in things like propagation of Dharma, or just generally the reduction of one's own and the suffering of others through
Of course, yeah.
Either through medicine or through meditation teaching or through just being a good, calm person,
Yeah,
whatever
sure.
it might be.
Yeah, so you could bring in the notion that during childbirth maybe the woman should be calm and accept suffering, and this would bring in wider ideas of accepting dukkha. You don't try to avoid
that's a
dukkha.
good way to get punched in the face by a pregnant woman. By suggesting that, just
Yeah,
calm down.
I'm not sure that works, yeah.
But yeah, I think the idea of it being part of a complex process, which some which is very painful,
Yeah.
but some which is very rewarding and joyful,
Yeah.
and it kind of isn't for you. It's
Yeah.
for other people too, and these barriers between the self and others
Yeah.
never get more complex than in relation between parents and children, I guess.
Of course, yeah.
So it's an interesting, very interesting, useful question, I think.